The case of Father Urbain Grandier's alleged possession and execution is a historical incident that took place in the town of Loudun, France, during the 17th century. It is often cited as one of the most famous cases of alleged possession, exorcism, and wrongful execution in history. Father Urbain Grandier was a charismatic and controversial Catholic priest who served in the town of Loudun. He was known for his eloquence, charm, and unorthodox views, which often put him at odds with the church authorities. He also had several enemies in the town, including the local Ursuline convent of nuns. In 1632, several nuns from the Ursuline convent began to exhibit bizarre and disturbing behavior. The Ursuline nuns claimed to be tormented by demons who caused them to convulse, speak in tongues, and manifest signs of possession. These symptoms were consistent with the prevailing beliefs of the time, which saw demonic influence as the cause of such afflictions. The spectacle of the nuns' possession drew widespread attention and curiosity. The alleged possession of the Ursuline nuns and their subsequent accusations against Father Grandier were pivotal in shaping the narrative of the case. They accused Father Grandier of being responsible for their possession. The condemnations against Father Grandier were rooted in the nuns' claims that he had made a pact with the devil, thereby enabling the demons to possess them. The allegations against the charismatic priest were not only religious but also fueled by political and personal vendettas. Father Grandier's unconventional views and outspoken nature had made him numerous enemies, and his controversial reputation provided a convenient target for those seeking to discredit him. He had made powerful enemies in the town, and his eccentric views on celibacy and the Catholic Church's hierarchy had made him unpopular among the local clergy. The exorcisms performed on the possessed nuns were conducted by priests and exorcists who believed they were fighting the forces of evil. These exorcisms were often brutal, involving physical restraints and harsh treatment of the nuns. The exorcists claimed to have extracted confessions from the nuns, further strengthening the case against Father Grandier. The trial of Father Grandier was highly contentious, marked by irregularities and a lack of due process. He staunchly defended himself and denied the accusations, but the outcome of the trial was preordained. The religious and political authorities of the time were determined to make an example of him. The unjust verdict and execution of Father Urbain Grandier continue to serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked religious fervor and the potential for false accusations in the context of alleged possession and witchcraft trials. This case led to the father's demise. The execution of Father Urbain Grandier in the case of the Loudun possessions was a gruesome and highly public event that marked the tragic culmination of a controversial trial. On August 18, 1634, a large crowd gathered to witness the execution in front of the Church of St. Croix in Loudun, France. The manner of execution chosen was burning at the stake, a punishment often reserved for individuals convicted of heresy and witchcraft during the early modern period. Father Grandier, who had vehemently maintained his innocence throughout the trial, was brought to the execution site. He was likely restrained and bound to a stake erected in the center of the square. As the flames were ignited, the priest endured unimaginable suffering. Burning at the stake was a particularly gruesome and painful method of execution, and it often took a considerable amount of time for the victim to perish. The death of Father Grandier was a public spectacle meant to serve as a deterrent to those who might harbor unconventional or controversial religious beliefs. It was a harsh reminder of the power of religious and political authorities during this period. His unjust demise came as a result of both religious fervor and political interests, as the church and state sought to make an example of him. The case of Father Urbain Grandier remains a somber chapter in the history of witch trials and religious persecution. It highlights the dangerous consequences of religious and political extremism and the vulnerability of individuals in the face of false accusations. Over the years, the case has sparked debates and discussions about the balance between faith, justice, and the protection of individual rights. The aftermath of the case of Father Urbain Grandier was marked by a complex mix of emotions and revelations. In the years following the priest's execution, various developments took place that shed light on the nature of the accusations and the validity of the possessed nun's claims. One significant aspect of the aftermath was the tarnishing of the reputation of the nuns who had accused Father Grandier. As time passed, many began to doubt the authenticity of the possessions, and suspicions arose that the nuns had been manipulated or had succumbed to mass hysteria. This shift in public perception revealed the potential for false accusations and the power of suggestion in cases of alleged possession. The scandalous nature of the Loudun possessions case had far-reaching consequences. It attracted the attention of intellectuals and thinkers of the time, such as Voltaire and Aldous Huxley, who used the case as a subject of discussion in their works. The case contributed to the growing skepticism about witch hunts and witch trials in the early modern period. Another aspect of the aftermath was the impact on religious and political authorities. The unjust execution of Father Grandier served as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked religious fervor and the need for more rigorous legal safeguards in cases involving accusations of possession and witchcraft. It fueled debates about the separation of church and state and the limits of religious authority. In the end, the case of Father Urbain Grandier remains a historical lesson on the dangers of religious and political extremism and the potential for false accusations and miscarriages of justice. It continues to be studied and discussed by historians, scholars, and those interested in the intersection of religion, law, and the supernatural. The case serves as a poignant reminder of the consequences of allowing fear, prejudice, and religious fanaticism to cloud the pursuit of truth and justice. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for a non-stop dose of engaging content that will keep you entertained, informed, and coming back for more.